Hi, this is Pastor Paul Walters, Lutheran Church of the Master. Welcome to Celebrity Interviews with Paul. Today, I am thrilled because I have honest to goodness, I have a celebrity with me. I have Rob Owen. Rob is the TV writer and critic for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. I got to read this so that I get them all in. He is a freelance TV writer at the Seattle Times, the Kansas City Star, the Richmond Times-Dispatch, and Variety in Hollywood. And he's published a book. Woohoo! Welcome, Rob.
Hey, Paul, it's great to see you again.
Great to see you. Rob and I met when we were both in high school and members of Christ Lutheran Church in Fairfax, Virginia, and I'm part of the youth group there led by my parents, Jan and Claire Walters, who still remember Rob fondly. So it is good to reconnect.
They are the best.
They are the best. How is life in the pandemic?
Life in the pandemic is...
Oh, no, hold on.
Okay.
All right, technical difficulties, but Rob was just talking about how amazing my parents are.
They are. Jan and Claire are the best. They were hugely important to me in my formative years, and I'm very glad that I've been able to stay in touch with them and see them every so often.
Absolutely. That's a gift. Now,
Absolutely.
how is life in the pandemic?
Pandemic life is all right. You know, it was a little crazy at first. We have a fourth grader and a kindergartner, and so as soon as school let out, before any of the distance learning kicked in a few weeks later, I immediately put in a schedule for the day because our kids, my kids especially, need a schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were already doing kind of the educational stuff, you know, not as much as we're doing now with distance learning, but just we needed patterns in the day, and that I think helped a lot. So, but you know, my husband's in the basement doing his lawyer work. I'm in my office when I can doing my TV critic work. So it's
well, if you could come and put structure into my children's lives and convert them from the nocturnal beings they've become, that would be a gift.
Ooh.
Yeah,
no, luckily we don't have to deal with that.
Yes, absolutely. Well, teenagers, you know, here we go.
Right.
Well, so I will post a link to your website, and so people can look and learn more. But your tagline is "You watch TV, so we don't have to." And and so you know, my wife and I we are through season 3 of Ozark, and it's a little dark for her, but it's kind of bright and cheery for me. So we come at it from different angles. We've done the whole Tiger King thing, although that was mostly me forcing that on my wife. We love Zoe's Amazing Playlist. Little disappointed that they wrote off her father at the end of season 1. What was that about?
The writer of that show, I think his name is Austin Weinberg. He's created the show, and it's based on his real life. And I believe it was his father who passed away in real life, and I think he wanted the show to be true to his experience.
Okay.
Now, I'm not 100% convinced that we won't see Peter Gallagher, who played that character, again. I think dream sequences or flashbacks would be within that show's wheelhouse. So, you know, we'll see what happens going forward. But I think it was just an effort to try to be realistic about what would happen in the situation.
Okay, well, I'll give you that. It just felt like, wouldn't you do that in season 2? You know, but that's okay. You know, is what it is. So what I'm looking for, of course, is, you know, we're all still quarantined. Michigan, we're still sheltering in place for a little while longer, and even afterwards, we're still kind of locked down. What should we be watching? What's going to bring us joy? What's going to like rope us in and want us to see the next episode?
Well, you know, it all depends where you're coming from, right? Because as you noted, you know, you like Ozark, Brandy, it's too dark. Yeah. I will admit, I never started Ozark because although I was intrigued by it, I knew that it would be too dark for my husband. And when I have a limited amount of time to review shows, and I, in about 2014, gave up reviewing everything because one person just can't do that. Right. So that wasn't one I picked, knowing that I sometimes have to share what I'm watching with him. And so, so it all depends a little bit what you're looking for. Sure. Some of the things I've watched recently, and it also depends what do you subscribe to, because there are so many services. Are you just on cable? Are you on antenna? Do you have Netflix? Do you have Hulu? That sort of thing. That makes it tough. So I'm going to try and offer some ideas that are a little all over the place, but You know, I'm sick to death of superhero shows, but having said that, there's a new one on the CW called Stargirl, and it harkens back a little bit to Smallville. There's kind of a father-daughter relationship at the center of it that is fairly nicely done. So if there are families looking for something to watch together, I think that's a good option. Another good broadcast option, particularly families with younger kids who are into Legos. There's a show that already aired on Fox, but they're now airing the reruns on Saturday called Lego Masters, and it's a brick building competition with Legos.
Oh,
that
cool.
is an entertaining show.
So like kind of like one of the food competition shows, except with Legos.
Exactly.
Cool.
Exactly. And it's hosted by Will Arnett, who's the voice of Lego Batman in the Lego movies.
Yeah.
And
I think I've seen like previews with him smashing creations with like baseball bats and stuff too.
Yes. That was in an early episode. So so that's a good one. Like I said, I think the reruns are on Saturday or possibly Sunday nights. But then there's a lot of new stuff that just flies under the radar. And that's the thing, you know, with 500 original series a year now, which is what we're probably up to this year, although the pandemic might screw with those numbers a little bit. It's very difficult to figure out, you know, what is worth watching. But I think you mentioned earlier to me that you have Amazon, correct?
Yes, we have Amazon Prime.
So, all right, did you ever watch The Good Place?
Yes, we loved The Good Place.
Okay. I love The Good Place too.
We finished it, and I love the way that ended, where death still needed to be real. That was beautiful. Yeah, The Good Place was excellent.
Well, there's another show with a similar setting, but very different.
Got my pen.
Gotcha. Good. Very, very different sensibility. It's not about moral philosophy at all. It is on Amazon, and it's called Upload, and it's from Greg Daniels, who created
The Office,
adapted The Office. Yes.
Yeah.
Also, he's doing the upcoming Steve Carell Space Force on Netflix, which I'm embargoed from saying it's terrible, but it's terrible. But Upload, I actually really like. It's very different, even though the setting is similar. It's very different. The concept is it's set in the future. In the future, we can have our memories uploaded into these sort of pay to live in virtual heavens, essentially. And, you know, there are different levels. Like there are the people who have lots of money and they get in a very beautiful heaven. And then there are people who don't have money and they get in like, you know, a dorm room from Rollins College or something like that. I mean, it's like cinder blocks and stuff. And so the show really deals a lot with the whole haves, have-nots thing. But then there's also a mystery story running through it in terms of the guy who dies and gets uploaded, what happened, what was involved in causing his death. So Upload is one I definitely would recommend. And it's already been renewed for a second season.
Ooh, happiness. Good.
Yeah. Another one, if anyone is into sci-fi, there's a show on Prime Video called The Expanse. It's based on a book series. It originated on Sci-Fi. I think they did the first 2 or 3 seasons on Sci-Fi, and then it got canceled there, but it's Jeff Bezos' favorite show. So he bought it and picked it up for Amazon. So they're doing new seasons there. It's a little slow going at first, but it really, I think, is the best sci-fi show out there currently. Hulu, which is another streaming service. One of my favorite things this year so far is their series Mrs. America, which is a history of the women's rights movement in the 1970s. A fantastic cast: Rose Byrne, Margot Martindale, Elizabeth Banks.
But it's not like a docudrama. It's like watching a show.
It's like watching a show. I mean, it is based in history. I mean, obviously they take
like historical fiction kind of thing. Yeah.
I mean, well, except I wouldn't even say it's historical fiction because it's not fiction. It's I mean, it's a period drama. That's probably the best way to put it. That I think is, from the things I have read, is mostly accurate and not super embellished. And Kate Blanchett is the star as Phyllis Schlafly, and she is amazing. And it's really fascinating. I mean, it taught me some things, especially right now with everything polarized politically. It was interesting because there are characters like liberal Republicans and conservative Democrats. And
yeah.
I know. It's very well done. It's extremely
Cool.
well written, well made, well acted.
Excellent.
If you like silly stuff, there's a show on FX, so that means it's also on FX on Hulu, called What We Do in the Shadows, which is basically The Office with vampires, kind of. Totally. I'd say that's a good way to describe it.
The Office with vampires. That's just like, that's intriguing right there.
It's based on a movie from a couple years ago called What We Do in the Shadows that was created by Jermaine Clement from Flight of the Conchords, and I'm not going to say his name right, Taika Waititi. I'm sure that I butchered it. He's either Australian or New Zealander. Anyway, he's a director. He directed one of the Thor movies. And anyway, the series is based on that movie, but it's set in that movie's universe, but different characters. And it's pretty funny.
Yeah, good. We'll have to check that one out too. As we work our way through all of these. I stumbled on some show that was about caterers. And like
Party Down.
Party Down. Yeah,
that was from several years ago on Stars.
Yeah, that was awful. And sort of, I watched 2 or 3 episodes. I don't think I'll do it anymore, but
it's got a cult following. There are people who are big fans of that one. I thought it was okay, but
yeah, I could see it. And the actors were pretty good.
Yes, it had a good cast.
Yeah, but that was That's we enjoyed the Good Girls too, or Good Girls, just Good Girls.
Good Girls,
with the
which just got renewed for another season.
Oh, wonderful! The counterfeiters who never seem to figure out that they're only going to dig their hole deeper.
Right.
Kind of like it's that one's kind of like Weeds, except less kind of dark, as Weeds kind of got into the dark side at some point.
Yes, it did. Yeah. And it's got and Good Girls has a great cast. I mean,
absolutely.
I love Retta. And Christina Hendricks is good, and Mae Whitman.
Christina Hendricks, fun fact, Fairfax High School alum. Christina Hendricks.
Is she really?
Yes.
I don't think I ever knew that.
Yeah, I read about her on Wikipedia. Are you a Fairfax High School grad? Are you or no?
James Madison High School.
James Madison. Yeah. Okay, I'm Fairfax High School grad, so she's an alum of my school, and but she had
before or after you.
She was after me and had a briefly horrible experience there.
Oh, okay.
Something about like divorce and moving around and stuff, and never fitting in and being part of the drama group or something. But claims Fairfax High School to some degree.
That's
so there you go. Got to celebrate her. So absolutely. Well, where did Tiger King come from? How did it happen, and how did it become like such a thing?
So it's really interesting when you look at the past couple of years and how Netflix really kind of made the genre of docuseries become a thing. Before Making a Murderer, before The Jinx on HBO, documentaries about true crime tended to be more movies, and documentaries in general tended to be more movies as opposed to series. And I think what Making a Murderer and The Jinx and maybe Serial as a podcast showed is that you can do an episodic version and tell a true life story. And so, Netflix has popularized this genre. There's a new Jeffrey Epstein docuseries coming next week, I think.
Right.
And Tiger King, from what I've read about it, I think it started out that it was going to be more about conservation and the animals, and then it became like this true crime thing about this crazy guy with his tigers.
Well, he wasn't the only crazy one. Everybody was crazy on that show.
No, everybody was crazy. There is the question of the edit, and now not with him. I don't think there's any question with him that there's challenges.
I don't know.
There,
I kind of think he was set up, but I think he deserved to be in jail anyway.
Yeah.
Whether he deserves to be in jail for the arranging the hit, I'm not fully on board with that, but I am fully on board with that man needed to be removed from society and incarcerated.
Yeah, I think that an argument can be made for that. Now, do you think Carol tried to kill her husband or killed herself, had her husband
Oh,
killed?
absolutely.
Really? I do not believe
I
that.
don't
I
know.
think
I mean, you know, as soon as you get into all that stuff, that's so much speculation. And
right.
I can't even remember Joe. You can't trust anything Joe says, let alone
No,
the crazy guy with the harem.
right. Well, the thing with those, both that and Making a Murderer, I felt like the filmmakers were really kind of putting their thumb on the
Oh
scales of
yeah,
justice
yeah.
and what they thought you should believe, and
Mm-hmm.
whether or not that's actually what you should believe. I think
Right.
the jury's out.
Yeah. Well, I'll trust the investigators to have gotten something right with Carol's husband too. So
Right.
yeah. Well, the last question I like to always ask people is,
Sure.
where in the midst of pandemic and everything else, and your life is upside down, your work life, your home life, everything, where do you find
Right.
joy? Where do you find joy?
Oh, that is a good question. I think just sort of in keeping things, there are a couple things. Keeping things running, having found a routine for the kids, that's
Mm-hmm.
kind of the most
Yep.
important
Yep.
thing. But one of the things that we instituted really early on was twice daily walks,
Okay.
and or bike rides, where we
Right.
would go out and just walk around the neighborhood. And
Mm-hmm.
we've seen woodpeckers and wild turkeys and National Guard jets fly over,
Right. Right.
and that is something that I've actually really um, enjoyed most days, and that the
Mm-hmm.
weather has been surprisingly cooperative for. So I would say our twice daily walks are the best part of the pandemic for me.
That's awesome. Well, thank you, Rob. Thank you for your suggestions. Thank you for your time,
Sure.
and everything that you do. And blessings to you and to your family. And take care.
And please, you guys too, and please give Jan and Claire my best when you talk to them.
Absolutely.
All right.